The Marvel Cinematic Universe is full of characters. And you know what a lot of those characters have done? Die. And sometimes it's sad. Sometimes it's not. Let's take a look and rank the saddest of the sad deaths. I'm ranking pretty much just the deaths that I think the movies wanted us to feel were sad. There's no like big villains where like they're not sympathetic at all. You're not gonna find Malekith, the dark elf, on here or anything like that. So let's just go ahead and get started with it. Oh, and don't forget, there's going to be spoilers for all of the MCU, including Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So you've been warned. Let's start off with the F tier. These are guys I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of glad you're gone. All right. So the F tier's got, people like Scourge in it, right? From, Thor Ragnarok. I like the character. He does a nice turn. It's good that he's not bad at the end, but really like good riddance. All right. Same's going to go for Icarus, right? This guy, they're like, oh, it's all sad. He's flying into the sun and everything. I'm like, no, bye, dude. And then there's also like the Illuminati from Doctor Strange and in the Multiverse of Madness. And, it's cool to see these guys and everything, but they're just being jerks to, our Doctor Strange the whole time. And so when they finally get what's coming to them, I'm kind of like, I don't really care. Then we close out that F tier with M.O.D.O.K from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Oh boy, like, I don't know, I kind of like this character more than a lot of people do, but still, like, you don't feel sad when he's going out. Sorry, Darren, you won't be missed. Then we get up into that D tier, and these are the guys where I'm saying, like, I'm not like happy they're gone, but I'm also like not even sad that they gotta go. So like we've got Maya Hansen, right? The lady who was working with Killian in Iron Man 3. A lot of what's going on is her fault, and so her getting killed, at the last second because she's, decided to have a change of conscience. I'm just like, that's not enough. Not enough. Also going to put Ant-Thony, right, from the first Ant-Man here. It's a great joke, but if you think about it for more than 1 second, you're like, oh, well, it's just an ant. I'm also going to put the Ancient One from the first Doctor Strange here as well. I'm just not a huge fan of her character, and she's doing a lot of things where I'm like, hey, that's pretty bad. Plus, she's like super, 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 super old, so I don't know. She's kind of had a good run. And then we got the real deal Mandarin, Wenmu, from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. He's the dad of the main character, so it's maybe a teeny tiny little bit like, oh, I'm maybe sad for him, but I'm not sad to see this character go. He's a real jerk. Then we finally make it into the C tier, and this tier I'm going to call oh, that's a bummer, right? These people die, you're like, oh, that's too bad. Like, kind of like them. I'm going to put Meredith Quill, Peter's mom from Guardians of the Galaxy. She's going to be right here. We don't really know her at all. She's like this kind of like mythical person in the life of our main character. And that makes it so like I'm personally not that sad when she goes. It's sad because it's like relatable and everything, because it's a very normal way for people that we know to die. But before this, she wasn't really a super loved character or anything, so she's not going to be going up any higher. I'm going to put Quicksilver here too. I think that might be a little bit of a hot take. Again, he was only in the one movie, and it's really like sadder seeing how people react to him dying than him actually dying himself. I'm just glad he got to go out as a good guy. So in Thor Ragnarok, we take out the Warriors 3 like they're nothing, and they go right here too. Again, they're fun characters, and they just kind of like just get thrown to the side like it's no big deal, which is, again, kind of a bummer. Then we got N'Jobu from Black Panther. This is Killmonger's dad, right? We don't really know him, so we're just getting this little bit to go off of when it comes to him getting killed. It's at the very beginning of the movie. I don't know, like a lot of people might want to put this a little bit higher, but for me, it's just not much more than, that's kind of a bummer. Zuri is going to fall into that same category as well. Now, these characters who have these like super like kind of messed up thing that they did, and then that past kind of catches up to them. I don't know, it just always kind of makes me feel a little less just like flat out sad when they do meet their end. Good character, and obviously it influences the people around him, but for me, nope. Then we got Ying Li, another dead mom at the beginning of a movie. Great motivation for a character, but we've been seeing dead moms at the beginning of movies and comic books and stories for a long time. So it's going to take a little more to get them to be something special in a movie. And that goes for like any dead family member, right? I need to spend more time with them if you really want that to be an impactful thing. But I don't think that's necessarily what they're going for with those kind of deaths either. It's really just that motivation for that main character. And then we got Ajax from Eternals here as well. Selma Hayek's getting killed by these deviants. I don't know. There's nothing in there that makes me feel particularly sad. She's kicking a lot of butt. She goes out like a pro against these guys. But her character is just not that developed, you know. And also this movie, the characters, there's just like too many characters. So it's hard to really kind of stand out. Not to say it can't be done, because I think someone will show up higher on the list. And that's going to get us up into that B tier. And B tier, I'm going to say they're gone too soon. Characters that I wish could have stuck around longer, because I was enjoying having them in the movie. But no, they're gone now. We're going to start off with Abraham Erskine, Dr. Abraham Erskine, right? The guy behind the super soldier serum that made Captain America who he was. We don't get a ton of time with him before he dies, but he does a really pivotal thing in like proving that, you know, Captain America is who he is because of who he was before he got the serum, right? And he believed in him then, saw the heart in him, and that's who he wanted to have be this super soldier. Stanley Tucci is also just always great. It isn't a surprise when it's time for him to die. Like, it feels like naturally, like, okay, yeah, this is when this mentor character is going to get it. He's like an Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of situation. So, oh, its time was up, but again, I could use some more of him. Then we got Frigga from Thor: The Dark World. And if we were just going off Thor: The Dark World, like, yeah, you know, maybe it would fall down into the lower tier. But we get that extra scene in Endgame now that has given her death more of an impact now when you go back and watch it, which usually is not something I'm a fan of, like retconning those kind of things, but it works for me here. She really loves her kids. We also have the original Groot dying here from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. He would be higher, like it's a good death, and like I'd be very sad if there wasn't a new Groot at the end of the same movie, right? And it's very much argued, like, it's not a resurrection, it's a different character, and that's why he can be on this list, right? Also going to put Peggy Carter on this one, right? She's really old when she dies. She's had a full life, a full happy life, but, you know, it doesn't mean that it's still not sad to see her go. Like, really like her as a character. Definitely more sad to watch her die when she's old here than to watch her die when she was like Captain Carter in Doctor Strange. I might be alone in that. I don't think I am, but, you know. And so as far as like old people dying in the MCU, this is about as sad as it gets. I'm going to put Howard and Maria Stark here as well. I don't know. Just don't really know them. Again, you see Tony get impacted by his parents getting killed. There's a little bit more with Howard and everything, but Tony seems way more sad about his mom dying, which, you know, is, you know, I feel fair. His dad's kind of not really there for him. This gets to jump up past some of those other, like, parents killed that we don't really know, just because, you know, it's also impacting the person who did the killing. So I think that that kind of helps it get up into that B tier. To be fair, we do get quite a bit of Howard Stark, though most of that is him being portrayed by a different actor. We got another dead dad here with T'Chaka from Captain America Civil War. He gets blown up while he's giving a speech at the United Nations and dies in his kid's arms. It's pretty sad, and it definitely goes on to motivate T'Challa to be the Black Panther and to really be one of the best parts of that movie. Heimdall's going to be here too. I think that some people might want to put him higher, but I don't know, his character has never really been that cool to me. I don't know, he's got a cool sword and a cool eyes, and he does a lot in Ragnarok, but that's not the movie he dies in. He gets to do one more cool thing right before he eats it, though, so that's nice. I hope I'm not sounding too dismissive of all these people dying. Sorry if I'm just kind of like waving off one of the most impactful fictional character deaths of your life. I don't mean to be that way. B tier is also where I'm going to put Gilgamesh from Eternals. I think he's probably the best character in the entire movie, so I really was bummed to see him die and to know we're not going to get more of him in any of the other MCU movies. I'm going to put the Scarlet Witch here too. She gets crushed by a mountain. Now, she might not be dead, but as of right now, we're going to just assume that she is. I would probably be way more sad if she had died when she was still being good, but you know, she does some pretty messed up stuff in this one. So it does knock her down just a little bit. She gets to be like all self-sacrificial, which, you know, helps kind of make it a little less sad. Overall, you know, she might get knocked off this list entirely if she shows up again. And then we're going to round out B tier with Dr. Jane Foster, the mighty Thor herself. Again, These people who are just getting cancer and dying, it's sad for like relatable reasons. Her character is rough for me because like she doesn't get a great goodbye in like the second Thor. Like they're like, oh, she's gone now. And then when she comes back in Thor Love and Thunder, I don't really like that movie that much. But, you know, we still have spent a lot of time with this character. It's obviously very affecting for Thor. I think that she's well acted as well. Like Natalie Portman does a great job. I mean, yeah, I could have had more of this character and been happy with it. So I think she fits this tier perfectly. Then we're going to get up to that A tier. I'm going to call this one a lump in the throat. You know, almost going to be crying tears. Maybe not quite for me. I can totally understand if you would bump any of these ones up into a higher one. I'm going to start off with Yinsen, right, from the Iron Man. He kicks it off great. You know, that classic, like, oh, I got to go and see my wife and kids. My wife and kids are actually dead, and dying was a part of the plan the whole time kind of thing. What a good dude. Like, what a great guy. Like, I really just like his character. It's a great way to start off the MCU with this kind of a sacrifice, right? It really just kind of lays out everything that Tony is going to try to become as time goes on. I have Odin up here too in A tier, which I guess technically is like an old age death. I think Anthony Hopkins is probably the main reason why I think this one is as good as it is. Gets great like goodbye scene with his kids and everything. It is like the third time he almost died though, so it's like, you know, how many times do I need to be sad about the same character dying? Killmonger is like the only villain that could be this high, right? You understand his motivations. They're very thought out and rational. Though the way he goes about doing things, of course, is too bad. It's too bad that he's not going about it in a nicer way. But you know, you completely get everything that he's trying to do. And then to see him have to die and choosing to die is, you know, a special kind of like sorrowful. I got Loki here in A tier. We get to put him here. He isn't resurrected in the Loki show or everything. That's a different Loki. But this Loki has had like the best character development out of almost everybody in the entire MCU up to the point where he dies. What a great way to start off Infinity War. It's just like, whoa, okay, I guess there are going to be some consequences to this movie. I do really like that he actually goes out as a hero though, so that's nice. Here's another one that I got some flack for not crying in the theater about, Aunt May. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, she's gonna die. So I guess maybe I was just like more emotionally prepared. I had a couple friends who were like, Seth, you probably cried so much when Aunt May died, because I'm actually known for crying in my group of friends. I talk about it on the channel all the time too. Like, I'll cry at anything. But this one, for whatever reason, didn't really get me. I think it's just because I'm used to people in Spider-Man's life dying, and so it just kind of felt like it's what was supposed to happen. I was going to put Queen Ramonda up here too, from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I was surprised when this one happened. Didn't really think that she was going to get killed, and then just drowning too again. It's like so just like, I don't know, realistically sad. That movie is not a particularly happy movie. Not one I'm really rushing back to watch again either. Probably for that reason. Again, the fact that we got to know her through the first movie and everything definitely helps. And then here's your Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 spoilers. Final warning. We got Lila, Teefs, and Floor. See, this is one of those things where it's like, we're just introduced to these characters in this movie, but you get to spend a lot of time with them through the different flashbacks and everything. You are pretty sure they're going to die, like, as soon as you see them. But it still hits emotionally when it does happen. If I had to rank these three deaths, I think I'd put Teefs up at the highest. We don't actually see him get killed, but for whatever reason, like, the big guy is just like my favorite, and sad to see him go. My walrus in a wheelchair. My sweet prince. And then that's going to get us up to that S tier, and I'm going to call this one Niagara Falls. I'm going to start off with Phil Coulson getting killed in the Avengers. Now you could argue and say, but Seth, he comes back in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't really canon, and he never shows up in a movie again, except for in Captain Marvel, but that's flashback, so it doesn't count. He's just such a pleasant character, and just was really the anchor between all these movies as we were getting started into everything. It felt like it was a good thing to really kind of solidify, like, this group needs to work together to stop this bad guy. Then we're going to get to Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and personally, this is probably my most sad death. I don't know, just like dad stuff always gets me. Like, he gets so many good moments in the finale that it's just like, when it finally is going on, you know it's going to happen, you know what's going on. It just hits so hard. Then we get into those Infinity War deaths. There's 2 of them. Vision eats it. Very sad, right? His girlfriend blows him up to save the universe, which is very sad, having to kill somebody that you love. But then he gets time rewound and then gets like the stone ripped out of his head. So he like dies twice. So it's like, sorry, Vision. And then if we were going to count the shows, then he also like gets killed again at the end of WandaVision. So it's real rough being that guy. I'm also going to put Gamora up here as well. Tons of time with her, tons of character development. She's very well acted and just like a fan favorite, right? What a great character Gamora has become up until this point. It just feels so sad to see her get killed. And when they bring her back and it's a different Gamora, it's managed to still pay off in good ways that I did not expect it to work as well as they have. And then getting thrown off the same cliff, or jumping off the same cliff, is going to be Black Widow. This is the moment where Endgame turns from being just kind of like, you know, it's kind of like a sad environment and everything, but like, man, we're on an adventure, this is going great, to like, oh, I guess everybody might not make it out of this one. I think it was a great ending for her character. It really just kind of tied up, again, everything for her. She wipes out all that red in her ledger. No complaints from me when it comes to like story-wise, but it's definitely sad. Then we got the big guy himself. I know this one probably pretty high for most people. Tony Stark, Iron Man, sacrificing everything to stop Thanos. It's going to be a hard moment to top when it comes to just the MCU in general. To see him go from where he was and who he was in that cave to right here in this moment, big changes. A lot of time went into that. Great performance by Robert Downey Jr. the whole way through. And then the last death to mention here in the S tier is going to be T'Challa himself, the original Black Panther. Well, not the original, but our first Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman's actual death really just kind of lends a lot of extra weight to this. It's kind of hard to separate all of that. Like, I imagine for people in the future it will be different, but like right now it's just so like tied into it and real. It's kind of hard to be like, this one is more sad when it's like, this one is like an actual person died, and so surprisingly and so young. I definitely would understand anybody putting this as their saddest MCU death entirely. And that's going to finish up the tier list. Thanks so much for sticking around here. Don't forget to subscribe if you do like tier lists or whatever the kind of stuff that I do on here. I really just like being able to make stuff that people enjoy watching. So let me know if you liked it by liking this video and subscribing, and we will see you next time. All right, take care. Bye.